Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Hope the day's still going well. Hope, whatever it is that you're doing, you've enjoyed it or enjoying it, all right? And we're going to dive into some transfers. Talking around Ederson from Atalanta again, someone that we've spoken about before. We're also going to talk a little bit about Barcelona's financial state, because obviously we've been linked with Rafinha and technically Frenkie de Jong, but I wanted to bring it in to sort of make it very apparent to their dire situation. As well as we're going to be talking a little bit around Adrian Rabiot. Bit of a weird one, I know, but you'll see what I mean when we get to it. I just want to say, if you're new, subscribe. You're very much welcome to join us for the journey. And let's talk Ederson first and foremost. So it came from Team Talk, and they said that Tottenham are ready to go all out and make a huge bid to sign Atalanta's Brazilian midfielder Ederson in a €45 million or 38.6 million pound summer deal. That's from the Gazzetta dello Sport, obviously a big publication in Italy. We've spoken about Ederson before, as the style of player that he is. He's a guy that is, I would probably say, more of an 8 than a 6. Very, very good on the ball. Isn't someone that, gives it away willy-nilly and things like that. I mean, this season, 30 games played, 7 goal contributions, 6 of them being goals. And I think that's one thing maybe that we lack a little bit of in the midfield is more goals, to be honest. Because we relied on Richie to get us loads of goals. Sonny to get us loads of goals. We haven't really had anything from, between Johnson, Solomon, Kulusevski and Werner, which I'm not going to, screw Solomon or Werner too much in that because they haven't played a ton of football. But, we haven't had a lot from those wing areas. We've had most of our goals come from the two guys, some from the defence as well, which is quite nice. But I think in the midfield is something maybe we lack. Maybe it's Sarr getting more on the score sheet. I know he's scored against Brighton, but maybe a little bit more of that is what we need. I know Maddison's getting back and he's getting fit, and he's a massive creator, and we know Pedro Porro is another massive creator. Maybe we need something a bit more from the midfield or a bit more from the wing. And I think that's maybe why we're looking at wingers, and that's why we're looking at 8s to get us more goal contributions. And Ederson would give you that, and he's a very talented player, there's no denying that, and he's a player that would absolutely suit the number 8 role at Spurs. And the thing is, I think we all need to remember, Pape Matar is not going to play 50, 60 games a season. He's going to get injured, he's going to get suspended, he's going to miss time, all that stuff. So we need to have someone that, if he does miss time, can play at his level. If not, also make him go to the bench because he's better. That's the way we should be looking at it. Don't be looking at it as, here's Sarr, the next guy has to be like loads worse because obviously he's not going to want to play backup. No, don't think of it as backup. Think of it as rotation. Top sides in the world have rotation. You think of the Man City midfield, you have Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, and let's say Julian Alvarez. Well, Foden can play in there. Bernardo Silva can play in there. Matheus Nunes can play in there. Kovacic can play in there. They had Phillips there as well. They had loads of options. We need to have more of that. And quality options. Not just options for the sake of it, but quality options. So that's a little bit on Ederson. Let's talk a little bit around Adrian Rabiot. And it came from Graham Bailey, who said that Juventus are working hard to keep Adrian Rabiot, but they face major competition to land him this summer. Bayern Munich are keen on the French star, whilst Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester United, Newcastle and Liverpool are being kept informed. No thanks. I don't often say I'd love him, I wouldn't want him, X, Y, and Z, but this is one that I wouldn't want personally. He's towards the back end of his 20s. Yeah, he's free, so it's cheaper, but his wages are going to be quite high. You're not going to have him join for 60 to 100 grand a week. You're going to have him join for 150, 200 grand a week. And when I look at the teams on that list, those are teams that would be most likely willing to pay that kind of money for him. Good player, there's no denying that. It just doesn't fit what we're trying to bring in right this second. Hence why I kind of just want to poo-poo it, sweep it under the rug, clear it out. You know what I mean? Not knocking him, just not for me, And I want to talk a little bit about this Barcelona situation. So it came from Athletic, and they were talking about the salary cap. And the Liga does have a salary cap on each club. So if you didn't know that, there you go. You learn something new every day. And they said Barcelona have had their salary cap reduced to €204 million, £174.8 million by La Liga following the conclusion of the January transfer window. The salary cap limit represents the maximum expenditure a club can make throughout the season, factoring in all transactions conducted during the winter. It plays a pivotal role in shaping the club's plans for the upcoming transfer window. On Tuesday, La Liga confirmed the salary caps for each club, with Barcelona experiencing a €66 million reduction from their previous cap that was set in September of 23 at €270 million or £231 million. The figure represents a significant drop in the amount Catalan's side were restricted to spend last February of £648 million. Obviously, Barca have sold off a lot of kind of basically mortgaged themselves for the here and now, hoping that it will, spark it back up again. I mean, look, you think in last February, they're restricted to, obviously, let's call it half £500 million. We're talking about at the end of this January transfer window towards the summer, and we're talking about £175 million. We're talking about a lot of money, not far off. £400 million has dropped on that. Barca have a situation on their hands. When you look at their squad, there's players there that have value, Ronald Araujo, Jules Koundé. Those players have obviously some decent value to their names. You look into the midfield, you've got Frenkie de Jong. You look into the attack, I think Ferran Torres has some value, but obviously they've spent a lot of money on him as well, which is kind of an issue. Lamine Yamal, obviously, La Masia academy products, so he has loads of value, because if you sold him for 50 million, you're making 50 million against FFP, which is obviously massive. Obviously, Pedro and Gavi being there as well, but they're not going to move those guys on. That's why they always talk about Frenkie de Jong. They talk about Araujo. They talk about Jules Koundé. I saw a report that they might move on Jules Koundé because they think they can get €80 million for him, which I would not want Spurs to touch that with a 20-foot pole. €80 million, he's not worth it. The rest of the team, though, when you look at it, Lewandowski's not exactly young. Gundogan's not very young. They had Oriol Romeu, that centre defensive mid. They had Marcus Alonso, Andreas Christensen. They've got other, I think Furman, they got other La Masia academy products. But that's what they need to focus on, bringing through those guys and rebuilding that club, not bringing in big names and João Cancelo and João Felix. I don't think that really fixes anything, So, yeah, I just want to highlight that because I think it's a really interesting report. Because when we talk about Rafinha and we talk about a guy that, has value, but they're going to want to maximise that value out of him. They're going to want to sell him high. They're not going to make what they spent on him. We're talking about a club that spent about €70 million on Rafinha, about 64 million pounds. They're not making that money back on him. Spurs would probably want to spend about 40 million. So you can see there's a slight disparity there between the two. Barca wanting to make as much money because obviously they spent so much money on FFP. Spurs not wanting to do much there. I still expect Spurs to have lists coming through. Obviously we know Neto's on the list. We know Rafinha's on the list. We know, Bakayoko's been on the list. Jota's been on the list. Obviously I don't think Jota will be on the list ever again. But Bakayoko, obviously, from PSV is an interesting one, the one that I'm quite interested in. But obviously, he has suitors across Europe. So there's a lot to really kind of digest in this video. So I apologise I've spoken so quickly because I didn't want to be talking for 35 minutes, But I think it's interesting with, Rabiot. I think we can sweep that one away. It's not going to happen, all right? I think we can talk about, in reality, Barca's situation being in a situation where that is a area where we can pinch people. And with Spurs being so strong in financial fair play, you could easily pinch at clubs. You can pinch at Atalanta. You can pinch at Barca. You can pinch at Chelsea. These clubs need to sell. We don't. We're in a beautiful position. We're in so strong financially fair play. We don't need to. I think with Atalanta, it might not be a thing that they need to sell, but they'd be more willing to sell. And I think 40 million pounds for Ederson, it's not crazy. But it would be interesting if they went the Ederson route instead of the Gallagher route. Chelsea panic a little bit, kind of going, that was 40 odd million pounds that we just sort of lost there. Because Spurs aren't going to buy Ederson and Gallagher, unless they truly thought one of them could play the 10, which I don't think they can. So there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of moving parts, and very interesting. But anyway, guys, just want to say, end of the video. Hope you enjoyed. Drop a like on the video if you did. Hit me in the comment section your thoughts and feelings about Ederson, about Rabiot, about Barca's situation, and what that means for Rafinha sales and things like that. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification for more. But anyway, guys, at the end of the video, I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.